feel like, oh yeah, that thing I do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, it's important and it's popular.
There are 5 orchestras, actually, at NEC. There's an orchestra for undergraduates, generally freshmen and sophomores, called the Symphony. Then there's an orchestra called Philharmonia, which is actually more than 150 players. That's all the other instrumentalists in the school. And then there's chamber orchestra. The elite chamber orchestra performs without a conductor. And then there's lab orchestra, the orchestra I use to teach conducting students. And then there's opera as well, where we provide the musicians for the pit. So given that, each of those orchestras is performing multiple concerts every year.
Our goal in the orchestra program is to send the students out into the world prepared to go into any orchestral situation and be able to work at the highest possible professional level. We try to replicate the world of a professional orchestra as much as we can.
From the standpoint of every instrumentalist coming into the school, they can expect to be in orchestra, they can expect to be in orchestral rep classes, they can expect to have sectionals, often led by members of the Boston Symphony.
As an aspiring orchestral player, someone who hopes to be in a great orchestra someday, it's really important to have people with that kind of experience.
Mickey Katz does a lot of the sectionals. He knows the ins and outs of the orchestra program, and he can always give you really good advice.
Try to be as progressive as possible here and as smooth as possible here. So
It's so cool just going across the street to the BSO and knowing that like a huge portion of the orchestra is on the faculty of your school.
But what I enjoy so much about working with students is that you learn the joy of working a little bit more slowly. If you want to spend 5 minutes on a few measures to make a larger point, you can do it. And the result then ends up having a kind of depth that's really unique.
The students here are what really, like when it comes down to it, they're part of one of the most important things about what makes the orchestra great.
You can get together with your classmates and your colleagues and just say, did you have to pull your bell out an inch to get that note out, or something? And it's always fun.
Being in orchestra is really like the only field at all where you're gonna have over 100 people all working towards the same goal all at the same time, not like divided up in different areas, but everyone is there, everyone is engaged, all trying to do exactly the same thing, which is just, there's no other feeling like it.
There are a lot of opportunities to play orchestral repertoire here at NEC.
I would guess that there are 10 Philharmonia concerts, 5 symphony concerts, 2 opera concerts, 2 lab orchestra concerts, 4 or 5 chamber orchestra concerts.
I think the most fun part of them is the actual concert night.
The very first one, when I first came to NEC as a student, was actually, I think, the most sort of ingrained in my memory. It was Mr. Wolff conducting. I think we did Berlioz Symphony Fantastique. You could feel this like energy just like surging, and the concert actually was pretty incredible. I was like, are we at a football game? Because I had never seen, it was my first time in Jordan Hall, and I had really never seen a school orchestra concert attended so well and with such energy.
The people they bring in for like readings, like I was playing with Esa-Pekka Salonen the reading of La Mer, which is really cool.
We sounded great. I was like, I'll never forget this.
The guest conductors that come also provide really interesting input.
it's very important that we play the standard repertoire so the students who have not been exposed to the great repertoire that we're here to study get their chance. But it goes way past that, and we do early music, new music, and unusual music in between.
There are a lot of my friends that really feel that we should always be playing huge orchestral pieces. And if we did that all the time, I mean, it wouldn't be special. It's less about what you're playing now, I think, and more about how you play it.
One of the most exciting new things we did was to recreate as much as we could of what appears to be the manuscript of the very first version of Mahler's First Symphony. We had an enormous Mahler festival for the centenary of his death, and the centerpiece of that was starting the orchestral season off with a performance of Symphony No. 1.
I think that the orchestra program holds a really important place here.
Woodwind players and brass players and percussionists tend to come into school and do their training with the orchestra job as their goal. And so going into these orchestras is very important for us. It's not the other thing, that's the thing.
It's where I would see myself spending a large part of my life in the future, and I think the memories and the experiences from the orchestra program will be the most beneficial to me when I look back.
I've dedicated my life to music because I just love the orchestral repertoire above anything else. And if I can help our students love that repertoire in a way that will sustain them over a career that will be decades long, then I've done my job.